Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the NXT review for the 26th of August 2020. Overall, a good show, unopposed by AEW tonight due to, I believe, NBA playoffs, and I know that the NHL is interfering with NXT next week. So schedules are bouncing around for both shows, and I think it'll hurt in ratings. But overall, this was a really good show. I'm glad to see Wade Barrett back in WWE as a commentator. For those who are unfamiliar with Barrett's commentary work, he was really good on the NWA product. So seeing him come back to a product where obviously he's going to get more money and more eyeballs is a really cool thing. As far as the show, we opened with a video package for a review of TakeOver 30. Karrion Kross and Scarlett come out and they open the show. He has his arm wrapped up in a sling and such. He said he warned that he'd become champion, and he did it. He took Keith Lee apart and ripped apart his world. He made everybody suffer, and he's a realist. He knows he can't defend the championship that way. And so he lays down the belt. He says he's on a path, and there are obstacles. Everyone in his way as an obstacle will eventually be destroyed. He lays the belt in the middle of the ring. He says this changes nothing, and Doomsday is still coming in the end, and everyone pays the toll. So, I mean, it's so unfortunate, and it reminds me of the Snakebit Finn Balor thing from, 4 years ago now, 2016, where Balor got an injury, I think, to his shoulder as well, at SummerSlam, finished the match, and then had to put up the belt the next night and whatnot. I wasn't a fan of Kross going into the Keith Lee match. He turned me in that match, to be honest, and I was intrigued to see where they would go with Kross post his win over Keith Lee. And now after Raw, I think Keith Lee going to Raw is more a negative for him in his career, because I don't know that they'll give him what he needs to be the star he could be, but that's a totally different story. Kross going forward, I think, does have some good challengers with the way they laid NXT out tonight. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's unfortunate when any guy or lady rises to the top of their respective promotion / profession and then gets an injury that catches them off guard. We then see Breezango defeat Imperium, Fabian Eichner, and Marcel Bartel for the tag team championships. I mean, this is fine. I've never really been an Imperium guy in the sense that I didn't get the characters. They were good in the ring, but not great, and I didn't get why the belts were switched when they were. So Breezango holding on to them is cool because, I came up with Fandango on the Indies, got to call his really early match stuff at least a couple times, at least a handful of matches, probably 8 to 10 matches. So it's just cool to see a friend make it. But B, I think there's fun in the character. However, they buried the character to the point, or characters to the point, because it's a team, that I wonder about making them champions without rehabbing them, a little bit more. Anyway, so Breezango starts the match, and they start with Chaos. Fandango and Eichner start. Bartel comes in and goes to work on the arm of Fandango. We go to commercial. We come back. Eichner tags in and continues to isolate Fandango. Champions continue making tags, but Fandango is able to fight both off. And Tyler Breeze comes in, nails a spinning heel kick, and hits a near fall. Breeze fights off Eichner and makes a bit of a flurry. There's some double teams, and there's a top rope move from Fandango. Bartel drills Fandango with a really stiff lariat, or stiff looking lariat anyway. Um, and then we move to a second commercial. Again, I think this match was a little too long, especially with everything else they had on the show that could have used a little more time. The champions are in complete control, and Breeze is taken out with a inverted tilt-a-whirl slam. Bartel works over Fandango, and Breeze makes a comeback, and he tags in. He escapes a power bomb. Hits a series of super kicks on both guys. They hit back and forth, and they're tagged back in, and then we see a double leg drop from the top rope, and there's a switch of the tag team championships again. I think it's too little too late. I don't know that they were rehabbed enough for this. So Damian Priest cuts a promo. He says he's going to continue to defend the North American Championship. Timothy Thatcher comes up, says he's embarrassed by the way the champion's acting, and Thatcher said he should be the person who gets the first shot. I think this could be fun. Thatcher is phenomenal. He's one of my favorite guys in a long time, and I think putting him with Priest could be good. Triple H, Regal, Michaels, and Matt Bloom, they're talking over what to do with the title now that it's been vacated. The return of Tommaso Ciampa against Jake Atlas. So, I love that Ciampa's back. Again, Ciampa's a guy that I called a handful of his matches back 15 years ago. Phenomenal guy. Sad to see that he's had so many injuries, but it is what it is. So, Ciampa dominates Atlas and takes him out in less than 60 seconds with the Widow's Bell. Not quite sure why Jake Atlas had to be the squash guy here. You've done okay building him up over the last, let's say, 4 to 6 months, and then you squash him like he's nothing. I don't agree with that. I think that's stupid. I always think they're not intelligent when they pick who to squash and why. I'm sure there's a wrestling school student who could have done the same thing. So Ciampa keeps going and, sends him into the plexiglass and the steps, and then he slingshots the throat directly into the steel under the ring. They stretcher job Atlas out. I don't know. And then, so we go to this is a good return for Ciampa, but it could have been done with somebody else. And I think they needed to explain a little more of why Ciampa's this aggressive coming back. Obviously, he's always been a little nuts, but they could have, I can't believe that someone as weak as Karrion Kross is holding my championship or was holding my championship. Something to give us a story of why he's that aggressive. So Candice LeRae promo airs. She's talking about Tegan Knox. She's talking about how they used to be friends and telling stories. She says that Knox was not there for her in the way she needed her to be at different points. And LeRae says basically if she doesn't want to follow the path, then she should stay out of her business. This is fine, but kind of an unneeded promo. So Mackenzie Mitchell's up with Bronson Reed, who is talking about winning the North American Championship. I still think they could have put the belt on Reed instead of Priest. Austin Theory, who's been out for a couple of months, last seen on Raw. He shows up and he makes fun of Reed, saying it's, he made it to WrestleMania 22, and so Reed isn't at his level. It's kind of, I don't know. I love Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory is probably one of the most talented guys they have, but Why bring him back here? Why not give him hype videos? Why not give him a reason for being gone? Why not give him a backstory? And I think that's one thing that NXT misses a lot is there's no backstory to returns. Anyway, Mia Yim comes into the ring. She's ready for her fight, and Robert Stone comes out. He says he's not letting Mercedes Martinez compete tonight. Shotzi Blackheart comes out and runs over Robert Stone with her tank, enters the ring for the match. Blackheart's phenomenal. I think she's got a lot of potential. I don't necessarily think that she's going to get to show it, but I've seen her on the indies, and I think she's really, really good. Match is too short. They trade strikes and offense for a bit, and Yim attacks right after the opening bell. Blackheart cuts Yim off with some kicks and hits a suplex for a near fall. Yim hits a dragon suplex and a running big boot, and then goes for a missile drop kick. Blackheart cuts her off, and she goes to the top rope and hits another drop kick for the win. Surprised that Blackheart goes over here. William Regal comes out of his office, and an announcer who doesn't have a name nor credibility, I guess, asks if they've come to a conclusion about the championship. Then we go to Santos Escobar defeating Isaiah Swerve Scott for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. I'm not a fan of Escobar. I know people are. I wasn't a fan of him when he was doing the mask thing. I'm not a fan of him here. So Escobar is in control early. He's brawling with Scott on the outside of the ring, tossing him around. And then they both go to the top rope. Swerve tries for a top rope Rana, and then it's countered with a power bomb. We go to commercial. We come back. Escobar teases, strikes, and this gives Swerve the opening he needs to land his own strikes. And Escobar goes to the outside, and there's a Fosbury flop by Swerve. Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza, they hit the ring, interfere. Breezango comes out. They brawl with them. I suppose this means that they're going to have some sort of match or series of matches here. And Swerve's back in the ring still with Escobar, hits a deadlift German suplex. And somehow the match continues through all this. Swerve cuts Escobar off, and Escobar grabs the bottom rope after being attacked, and Escobar bails out to the floor, grabs a mask, puts it on. We don't know why. He headbutts Swerve with the mask on, kind of the old loaded mask gimmick, which comes out of nowhere, and then pins him to retain the title. Why are we doing the loaded mask gimmick when we haven't done it here? Where did this come from? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, Johnny Gargano said he's been called the Iron Man of NXT for years, and next Tuesday he'll prove it. Apparently, this is the first hint of the four-way to come for the NXT vacant NXT Championship. Balor, who's also in, says that life comes at him full circle. All the pieces are set in motion. He's going to be, once again, the cornerstone of NXT. And he says he doesn't want to be a cornerstone. He wants to be a centerpiece. He says he'll prove to the network, the media, and the internet that he's going to be NXT champion. I don't know. I'm hoping that they do something new and unique with this, but I don't know that they will. Kyle O'Reilly's back. He faces Drake Maverick. I'm not a fan of this, but I'm not a fan of this because Kyle O'Reilly wins, which is great, except that you take all this time to build up Drake Maverick a few months ago with the firing, and you bring him back, and he almost wins the Cruiserweight tournament, and now he's back to just being not insignificant, but Maverick has certainly fallen since that time. Maverick does show great fire, a la like a New Age Ricky Morton, and O'Reilly is very good. Maverick does fire up at the bell and goes right after O'Reilly. He hits a big dive to the outside on Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. O'Reilly hits a cutoff. Maverick fires back. Hits a bulldog and a senton. O'Reilly cuts him off again. They exchange strikes, and obviously O'Reilly, the hybrid MMA fighter, manages to get the better of his opponent. Maverick fires back with Enziguri, goes for sliced bread, but there's a leg lock from O'Reilly. Maverick tries to fight out, can't get where he wants to get, and Maverick has to tap out. Again, match is fine on its own, but why do you build so strongly with Maverick if you're not going to make him a star when you could have? Anyway, Undisputed Era minus Adam Cole attacks Maverick after the match. Killian Dane, who's a guy I do not get, and I don't understand why he's employed, comes out. I mean, I get that he's a big guy who looks impressive, but I don't see where his draw is. Dane turns his attention to Maverick. Maverick walked up to him. Dane lays him out with a clothesline, so he saves him, but doesn't really. Rhea Ripley says she didn't come out at NXT to save Io Shirai. She came out to let it be known she wants to challenge Io in the next opportunity. In regards to Raquel Gonzalez, she basically says she's going to fight her to get her out of the way. And Adam Cole says he's on the Mount Rushmore of NXT, and the next Tuesday will determine the next NXT champion. And a match like this is right up his alley. Obviously, at some point, they do announce that this is going to be a 60-minute four-way, and, you know, he says that being champion a second time will take him to a whole other level. And we move to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley. Match feels pretty short. It's fine while it lasts. Kai and Ripley start out, and we go to a break. Ripley and Shirai are in control when we come back. Gonzalez and Kai try to isolate Ripley. It doesn't really work out. Shirai gets the tag, makes a comeback. Shirai hits a 619 on Kai, which, why are we having people steal Legends moves? So Shirai hits a big knee on Kai and a German suplex. Gonzalez breaks up the pin. Gonzalez lays out Shirai with a clothesline and tags in Ripley. Referee doesn't see this. Mercedes Martinez comes out and takes out Rhea Ripley on the apron. Gonzalez hits a tilt-a-whirl slam for near fall. Shirai makes tag to Ripley once again, but Gonzalez hits Ripley with a big boot and pinder with a choke slam. I think they have something in Gonzalez. I think it's, you got to strike while the iron's hot. I wouldn't even mind her being the one to beat Io Shirai eventually, but, you know, they're not going in that direction, I don't think. Anyway, there's your NXT review. Overall, good show. We'll be back with AEW later tonight, since it's airing on Thursday. Also, we'll be starting 1983 world-class stuff as well, so keep posted here. Anyway, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.